It's Friday, 1998, on the 7th of August. The sun was out. It was just a normal day in Nairobi. The city is busy with patriotic citizens who are trying to build a nation. However, at exactly 10:30 a.m., the unfortunate happens. 10 minutes later, another bomb detonates at 10:40 a.m. in Tanzania in the city of Dar es Salaam.
It's inhuman, it's evil, it's despicable. Terrible misuse of science and technology. This thing is completely alien to our history, alien to our political culture, and we'll contain it. We'll do everything to contain this kind of.
These two buildings had one thing in common. They were the United States Embassies.
You have declared a jihad against the United States. Can you tell us why?
The US government has committed acts that are extremely unjust, hideous, and criminal.
Some people just paid with their lives for. I would say it's more American or whatever Arab war, but.
The United States Embassy in Kenya was initially established in central Nairobi before its relocation in Gigiri, Nairobi. It was established after United States recognized Kenya as an independent state on December 12, 1963.
Being chosen and admitted to the cabinet in Kenya, do swear that I will be true.
They clearly and formally established diplomatic relations with our country, Kenya. The United States wanted to spread their relation with other countries, and they also did the same to our neighbor country in Tanzania. They built their offices in Dar es Salaam, which was the largest city and former capital city, on December 9, 1961, after they gained independence from the British rule.
Jubilation was unbounded in Dar es Salaam. From the final session of the Constitutional Conference came Mr. MacLeod left, Mr. Julius Nyerere.
Meanwhile, around the world, there was an Islamic revolution growing named jihad. While in Muslim context, jihad does not refer to a holy war against an unbeliever, but a rather struggle or a strife in the way of God. In simple terms, it's a communal struggle to build a good society from people who are trying to destroy it. In this context, this group of jihadists believe United States was the enemy.
You have declared a jihad against the United States. Can you tell us why?
The US government has committed acts that are extremely unjust, hideous, and criminal through its support of the Israeli occupation of Palestine. And we believe the US is directly responsible for those killed in Palestine, Lebanon, and Iraq.
Attack and series of murder in June and July in Egypt, which were orchestrated by Egyptian Islamic jihadists. This attack led to the assassination of Rifai al-Mahgoub and a plot against Khan el-Khalili market in Cairo, Egypt.
See someone who was shooting that people which we sitting inside the car, the black car.
There were 4 men who were believed to be the culprit who orchestrated this assassination and attack, whom the United States extradited and arrested them in Albania 2 months prior to the attack in Egypt. Ahmad Ismail Uthman Saleh, Ahmad Ibrahim Al-Said Al-Naga, Shaki Salama Mustafa and Mohammed Hassan Tita were all renditioned from Albania to Egypt with the assistance of the United States. A month later, this jihadist terror group issued a warning to the United States that they will revenge for the torture and extradition of their 4 members and interference in what they had planned. Then plans were made to attack and avenge. They selected 2 countries, which were Kenya and Tanzania. Bombs were supposed to be planned on the cities of these countries, but there were no clear incentives of the connection or rather link to American embassies in the selected countries. Nairobi City was marked and named Operation Kaaba in Mecca. Then next was Dar es Salaam. It was named Operation Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. Bin Laden had these cities targeted because of the invasion of Somalia and also claimed that the United States was planning to partition Sudan, which the idea was discussed at the United States Embassy in Nairobi. This Al-Qaeda group believed everything that Osama bin Laden brewed out of his mind. In May 1998, a villa apartment was purchased by one of the attackers for the creation of the bombs. A month later, in June 1998, KK Mohammed rented a house in the Ilala district of Dar es Salaam, which is 6 kilometers from the United States Embassy in Tanzania. Sheikh Hamed Salim Sudan purchased a beige Toyota dinner truck in Nairobi and a 1997 Nissan Atlas truck in Dar es Salaam. They had clear incentive of using this truck for the movements of the bombs. Mohammed Oden supervised construction of the 2 900 kg bombs in both Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. Bomb in Nairobi had 500 cylinders of TNT of ammonium nitrate, aluminum powder and a detonating cord. While the Dar es Salaam bomb was a bit different from the Nairobi bomb, it composed of TNT that was attached to 15 oxygen tanks and a gas canister that was surrounded by 4 ammonium nitrate fertilizers and some sand. The D-Day finally reached. It was time to accomplish their mission. On August 7, 1998, everything was set and the bombs were ready. Azam drove the Toyota dinner truck from their villa towards United States Embassy in Nairobi along with Mohammed Rashid Al-Owali. Upon arrival to the American Embassy, there was a local security guard named Benson Okuku Bwaku. Benson refused to open the gate after he noticed things were suspicious. After receiving some threats and he did not comply, a stun grenade was thrown to him and other guards by Al-Owali, and he later exited the vehicle and ran off. It appeared there were some setbacks. On the other side of our neighbors, Tanzania, the Nissan Atlas was drove to the United States Embassy in Dar es Salaam by Hamdan Khalif Allah Awad, aka Ahmed the German, due to his blonde hair. At exactly 10:30 am, the truck parked at Nairobi United States Embassy exploded, releasing seismological energy reading of 3 and 15 metric tons of high explosive materials. The explosion damaged the United States Embassy and collapsed the neighbor building of Fundi, where most victims met their deaths. Windows were shattered in a radius of nearly 800 meters. Eye injuries were recorded in large numbers because most people rushed to the windows when they heard the explosive from the stun grenade and shooting, not expecting a bomb would follow up. 10 minutes later, at exactly 10:40 am, the bomb in Dar es Salaam exploded at the gate of the United Embassy in Tanzania. The aftermath after the bomb was horrific. Victims who were near the bomb radius got devoured by the blast and shattered glass from Ufundi Corp House and other buildings. A total of 213 people were killed in the Nairobi blast alone, with injuries amounting to over 4,000 people. While in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, 11 people were killed and 85 wounded.
It's inhuman, it's evil, it's despicable. Terrible misuse of science and technology. This thing is completely alien to our history, alien to our political culture, and we'll contain it. We'll contain it. We'll do everything to contain this kind of.
It was a busy day for the doctors and nurses who tried to save those victims who were affected by the blast in both of the two countries.
I'm very angry at that, and unfortunately, because I don't know who done this thing.
I can't understand really. It was abductive. It was abductive.
The bombs created a huge attention on the international community, and President Bill Clinton, who was the United States President, ordered Operation Infinite Research to find the mastermind behind these inhumane acts.
These acts of terrorist violence are abhorrent, they are inhuman. We will use all the means at our disposal to bring those responsible to justice, no matter what or how long it takes.
After a series of investigation, they came up with a list of names of the culprit behind this heinous act. On the names, they highlighted Fazul Abdullah Mohammed and Abdullah Ahmed Abdullah of being the mastermind behind the creation of the two bombs.
No, I written it generally, the documents and my contact.
Is that we have arrested Sheikh from Mandera. We may not know all his names and aliases.
Both of the two embassies were heavily damaged and they had to be reconstructed. The Nairobi embassy had to be built on a different location for security purposes.
The compound will house a modernistic four-story.
I'm gonna add a little bit of soil from our old property.
US investment in Kenya has dropped since the bombing. It's hoped this major new construction will attract more and more American companies to Nairobi and provide a boost to the economy.
A memorial park was also constructed on the former Nairobi embassy site that will be a remembrance on the series of attacks on East Africa. However, they had to charge a fee on the memorial park, which will lead to a protest on the opening ceremony. The United States also began to work with Kenya in bilateral terms, adding Kenya to its anti-terrorism program. And they also granted a $42 million specifically for the victims in Kenya who were affected by the bombs. However, 3 decades later after the bomb, most of the victims who were promised a $42 million grant by the United States government have not yet received their share, having them to go through a court battle to get what was promised to them.
The US Congress did allocate $40 million to rebuild Nairobi and provide humanitarian assistance to victims. But the US asks why also a victim of terrorist attacks should it be responsible for compensating other victims.
I know that the US has a limitation because this thing is global, and if you leave it open, of course more demand will come.
Direct compensation is not something that we do. I mean, it's not unique to the Kenya situation, it's broader than that. And I would point out that the American citizen victims who had people working in the embassy also did not receive a direct compensation.
Most of the culprits were apprehended, faced the law, and some had to be wiped out of the face of this earth.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
Americans should just come out and be that, those good people who will take their responsibility and compensate Kenyans for what we suffered because of them, because al-Qaeda was not fighting Kenya.
It's a day of great relief to us victims and survivors. see that bin Laden has been killed